Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? No? Am I on, Sarah? I should be. Good. Well, I hope you can hear me. So first of all, my name's Dave Hodgson. I'm the pastor here of Steamcross Community Church, which was Malcolm's church and is Pam's church as well. And I'd like to just welcome you all on behalf of the family and on behalf of the church. It's a lovely turnout, and I know their family would want to say thank you so much for coming. In fact, I believe we've got people in the back room, we've got an overflow room there, and if everything's going to plan, they can hear us. Give us a shout if you can hear us. Well done. They're not tucking into the food. That's the good news. So yeah, very welcome. And this is very much a celebration of Malcolm's life. This is what the family wanted. They had a great time at the crematorium earlier on this morning, saying their own personal goodbyes. But they asked very much that this was as much as we can, because it's always a sad time when we lose people, but we want to make this a celebration of his life. He was a big man and he had a big personality, and we all know that in different ways. So we're going to really just do our best to celebrate. And afterwards, we've also, family been generous, and they've put on lunch for people. You are all welcome. I'm hoping that they're all welcome. Yeah, they're all welcome to stay. I also want to just say a quick hi, because we are, if technology serves us well, we are actually going live online somewhere to part of the family that are in somewhere abroad. Tasmania? Somewhere. Truro, maybe. So hopefully they are logging in and clicking in. So we just want to say welcome to you. Hopefully you can hear us loud and clear. Hallelujah. Well, we are a church, so if you will let me, I will just start with a word of prayer. Father, I want to just thank you for this opportunity of celebrating life. Jesus, you said you came to bring us life and life in abundance. Malcolm knew that. We want to just reflect his wishes and his faith today here amongst his family and his friends. We will just invite you, Lord, to do what you do best. Come and give comfort to those who need it. Come and lift us, Lord, into a place where we can celebrate. We ask for a blessing upon the family and the friends as we unite together. And we also sing together some of Malcolm's favourite hymns. And we've got 3 here. And just for clarity's sake, there was a lovely little display that the family put together. But let me assure you, that was not Malcolm singing. I have actually sat in front of him in church, and I can assure you that was not Malcolm singing. You want to just stand if you can, and we'll sing together one of his favourite hymns, which is very obviously relevant to most people here. We plough the fields and scatter.
Thank you for all coming today. It's nice to see you all here.
Sorry, let me just, because we're online and we've got people in the back room, I just make sure this microphone's on for you. No singing, just speaking. That's all.
Right, well, thank you for all coming today. It's nice to see you all here. This will be very brief. This is written by the boys, mainly. Dad will be remembered for being such a colourful character. There were always something going on. It was a little different, like peacocks walking through the village, poisoning starlings dropping from the sky. Dad knew all the tricks. Dad loved all his family, took all the grandchildren with him as much as he could, doing jobs on the farm and in the back of the old Land Rover. Only reason he took them was to close the gates. He taught us many things, a lot, like used daily on our farms, even with Bert and Fran out in Tasmania. Dad loved a good party. Probably everyone here went to one of his parties. And that's it, really. We'll all miss him a lot. And that's it for me. Right, thanks.
Right, Dad. How can you put over 85 years of life into 5 minutes? You can't. So I'm just going to share a few of my memories. I remember as a child, Dad was around as a farmer. He lived and worked on the farm. My first memories were of Jubbs Court Farm in Fayland, where Dad was very much a part of the local community, organising big round firework nights or being in the local pantomime. I think it was Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. Making paddling pools in the garden out of bales of straw and plastic sheeting. Dad was a huge fan of parties, just as Kevin said. And small dinner parties with games, big parties, weddings, any excuse for a celebration, birthdays, anniversaries, barbecues. He loved them all. He loved planning parties. I remember him crawling around on his hands and knees, roaring like a lion after Kevin and I, when we were small and he was babysitting in our sitting room. And we screamed and had a lovely family holidays in Weymouth, usually in a caravan. In later years, he and Mum went to New Zealand, which Dad loved. Mum said it's just like any other farm, but Dad loved it. I look at my 3 boys and I see traits of their pappy in them. Ollie, soft, kind, generous and caring and quite emotional. Just like Dad was in every way. Will is a party animal. He loves games, he loves organising games, just like Dad did. On the beach, at home, New Year's Eve, he loves games. And Ed, well, Ed, if you know Ed, he's very stubborn. You can't make Ed do anything he doesn't want to do, just like Dad. When Ed went into hospital at the age of 4 to have major heart surgery, and we weren't sure if he was going to make it, Dad ordered and gave him a beautiful wooden rocking horse the day before he went in. And he said to me, "You need to have faith, Dad." And he was right. He's here still at 24. And he taught us to be kind, to laugh at ourselves, to have a faith, to believe, to be generous. And he taught us just have enough, but to be generous with other people. And I hope the boys and I carried that on and hope to carry it on even longer. Find that right. He loved his family, and he'd been married for over 63 years to Mum. They had a happy marriage. As his mantra to Mum was, you for inside, me for outside. And to be fair, he could only just about make a cup of tea. He loved Kevin and myself and his 5 grandchildren and his beloved great-grandchildren. And he loved spending time with them. He also adored his friends. And looking at you all here, he lived his life in the same area all his life, and so has many friends, and it's lovely to see you. Then we moved on to Walnut Tree Farm, lived in a caravan for a year as we built a house. I can remember Kevin coming running in one day, worried that the bathroom wasn't big enough. And Dad took him out and showed him that it really was big enough. But we had a lovely time in Walnut Tree. And then we moved to Rectory Farm, where he and Mum were very happy. And they lived in Rectory Farm until 2 years ago, when Ollie and Ed took over the farm. And Dad had his opinion on Ollie and Ed's farming and told them on a regular basis. He told us for the last 10 years that he was going to die. Every time he went into hospital or he was ill, he said, this is it, love. But 10 years later, and now his time has come, and he will... We remember last Christmas when we all rushed into hospital to say our goodbyes because the doctor says this is it. I rang the next morning to see how things were, expecting them to say he's only got hours left. And the nurse said to me, oh, he sat up having his breakfast with cakes and toast. Obviously it wasn't his time. But now it is his time and he's gone. And we're going to miss him. And hopefully we will all have loving memories of Dad. So Dad, until we meet again, we'll miss you and we love you.
Hello everybody, you have to bear with me a bit, I am losing my voice. And as a few people have alluded to, I can get quite emotional. So, it's great to see so many people here today, and I think it's a real testament to Grandfather and his friendships, which I know he enjoyed so much throughout his life. He really did love people, and yeah, it shows today. So we're all so grateful for the well wishes and memories and stories of Grandad we've received over the past few weeks. Our guested here today, I'm in the very fortunate position to have known Grandfather in many different ways, which have inevitably morphed as life has moved through its stages. He was not only my granddad, he was my business partner, and most importantly, one of my best friends. We had a friendship that I can only wish that I would be able to have with my children and grandchildren. My first memories of that start as a small child when they lived at Consbury. I, as a toddler, rather than sucking my own thumb, had the terrible habit of sucking other people's fingers. For some reason, I had a particular love of Grandad's thumb. Every time he would come in from the farm, I would latch onto his thumb, whatever state his hands were in. You're pleased to know I have finally grown out of it. Most evenings we sat in the kitchen with Pat recounting the story of the little red hen, something, even in the last few years, he's managed to pass on to my children, his great-grandchildren, which is memories they will cherish. One thing that we all remember from this period of our lives as grandkids is being sat in the spare wheel on the Land Rover, on the front, as Pat drove as fast as he could down the back lanes at Consbury, trying to get us soaked in puddles. And I'm pretty sure if Mum had seen it, she would have gone absolutely mad. There was also always time to stop for an ice cream. We also all recounted fond memories of sorting sheep by the church at Backwell Hill. There was always a child-sized hole in the pen he used to keep to get the sheep in that needed filling. At that time of our lives, it felt like a position of great responsibility. As I grew up, I spent every Saturday in school holidays for as long as I can remember, trundling along behind Bat, dosing sheep, moving cattle, haymaking, electric fencing, retrieving stock that had gone astray. There was always work to be done, But the priority was always stopping for a chat with whoever he came across, down the back lanes, across the fields, wherever, followed by working late into the evening. In the summer of 2010, I'd just come home from Liverpool, and as ever, I was helping him on the farm. I sat in the kitchen one day eating one of Grandma's cooked breakfasts, and I muttered to Pap, "I don't think I'm going back to university, I'm going to try farming with you." To which he replied, without any question, "Okay, we better get on with it then." What then occurred was 5 years of working together, making mistakes and expansion. At any point through that time, if anything wasn't quite going to plan, work harder, it will come right, was his motto. For those 5 years, we travelled around in an old Land Rover, checking stock, listening to country and western music. Then came a time when he didn't really feel like getting out of the house quite the same. I would go about my daily work. Would it be coffee time or lunchtime? I would go and sit in with him, play cribbage, and recount what I had been up to. He always loved to know what was happening and offer words of advice, nudging me in the right direction when necessary. Even if being met with, "What's dead today?" did become a bit wearing at times, I will treasure those times forever. He truly did love his farming. I've learned so much about life from both grandfather and grandma, their unquestionable loyalty to each other that they had, and their ability to just get on with things, is something that I will carry with me forever. One thing I will also always remember about Grandad is his love of a deal. It didn't matter what we were buying, we had to get a discount. This was fine within the agriculture world because farmers were pretty used to bartering. It always got a bit more interesting when it strayed over into other shopping. I will always remember him asking the checkout girl at Cadbury Garden Centre, "What discount are you going to give me on this barbecue? It's September and you're not going to sell it to anybody else." Although at first she looked a bit confused, after consulting a manager, he inevitably came away with a discounted barbecue. I know that he enjoyed his whole life, and he loved Yatton and Consbury and living around here and the many friends he had, but if he was ever to recount a story from the past, it would always begin with, when we lived at Fayland, or up on Backwell Hill, he would always recount how hard they worked, the friends they made, and the parties they attended. He was also particularly fond of the time he'd spent holidaying in New Zealand and the friends he'd made there. We are so grateful for the well wishes and stories that have been shared from across the other side of the world. I thought I would just finish with some of the principles that Grandfather lived by, or I think he lived by. You have one hand for working and one hand for giving. Work hard and you will achieve. Strong sideburns are important. Water is for drinking and bathing in occasionally. You only ever need enough. If you have the means, help those that need it. And as Mum mentioned, which probably a lot of people didn't know, he had a really strong Christian faith, and was very much a believer in, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
Would you stand with us and we'll sing one of his favourite hymns, "O Lord my God, when I in awesome wonder."
See
be seated. Thank you very much. Thank you to the family for that. It really did sum up Malcolm in so many different ways. Caught him in all his different personalities that we know and we love so much, and everybody will have their own stories. One thing I just want to acknowledge, and you will all know this anyway, it doesn't really need saying, but you can't really think of Malcolm without thinking of Pam. And it's been hard the last few years, really, because he said to me, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. And then the stubborn old goat just hung on and hung on and hung on. And Pam really was there supporting him throughout, and she did a great job, we all know that. But it just needs saying and acknowledging. So I'm not obviously but I'm not from a farming community, so I didn't know Malcolm from the farming side. I come to know him because of his faith. And he was a man of faith, as Ollie said. He had a strong Christian faith, and many of you will know that. He was a part of this church. This is his church, and very much what it is today is part of his vision and the effort and the things that he put into it. And Pam, they were very much the backbone of it for many, many years. And can't even remember, 5 or 6 years ago they came to us. We were a church in Yatton, the River of Life Church, and they came to us and they said, look, we're going through some hard times, but would you fancy joining us? And we prayed about it, we believed that God was in it, and we did. And God started to do some amazing things. But Malcolm, because I believe he was a farmer, he had the ability to see more than was in front of him. You know, some of us will look out and we'll go, oh, it's been raining, it's been miserable. And we'll look out and we'll see a field and it'll be just muddy. But a farmer sees potential, sees planting opportunities, or sees grass growing to feed the cattle or the sheep. Farmers look ahead and beyond. And Malcolm did that with the church. It was a bit run down, they had some lean years, but he saw beyond that. And I very much was involved with him in those years where we were bringing these churches together and we were looking to do something different. And he was on the leadership team with me for a long time, and he'd say things like, Dave, I'll just support you in whatever you do. And then he'd say, what are you going to do? And when I told him, he'd say, no, I wouldn't do that. I'm sure the boys know what I'm talking about. Ironically, one of his sayings to me, I know you just mentioned, Ollie, that work hard and it'll come right, I think he said, was one of his sayings. One of his sayings to me, because we didn't necessarily agree on everything, and he said, well, look, if you're going to do it as long as no one dies. Which seems a bit ironic now. But the truth is, and you know this in the farming community more than anyone really, but things do die and people do die. It is part of life. And I want to just tell you about Malcolm's faith. You see, he sees beyond the grave. His faith talks to us about something that we can't necessarily see, but we have hope and we have trust in. Farmers do that when they see the land and they plant. They don't keep digging up the seeds to see whether they're growing. They trust in the process. Someone once said of a farmer that what you can do is you can count the pits in an apple, but you can't count the apples in a pit. Christian faith sees beyond the grave. And if you think about it, we've just celebrated Christmas. And why do we celebrate Christmas? Well, we all know it's because that's when we celebrate Jesus being born. That was his birthday. But think about this for a minute. Who else who has died do you celebrate a birthday for? You see, you only celebrate a birthday for the living. We believe he lives. I believe Malcolm has passed on but still lives. His faith speaks to me. My faith speaks as well. I know the family have got faith for this. Nettie said, I look forward to seeing him again. That's what we really do believe. So I want to do what Malcolm would do. I want to talk straight to you this morning. Because he was a straight talker, we all know that. Didn't mince his words, did he? You're here to honour his life, but how about honouring his faith? How about allowing his faith to speak to you? Would you be prepared to send, okay, it will be a speculative prayer, to the God that Malcolm believed in and ask him, are you there? Malcolm had story and story about his farming and his family and his community, and he was a great fun person to be with. I count it as an honour and a privilege to be part of a church that he was in. That time has gone, but his faith can still speak to us now. I'm not going to ask you to do anything now. It's a very speculative prayer, but would you honour his faith as you honour his life and remember him? Why not give his God a chance to prove himself to you? What's the worst? No one's going to die. If you do that, I'll pray for you. And I'll pray that as you've honoured his faith, I will ask God to honour that faith and prove himself to you. Prayer would be very simple. It would just be to the God that Malcolm believed in. If you're there and it's true, make yourself known. Just bow your heads now as we just end this part of his celebration, and allow me, if I will, to pray. Heavenly Father, creator of the universe, oh God, that Malcolm believed in, that I believe in, that we as a church believe in. I pray for everyone who can hear my voice and all who would honour his faith and send that prayer up to you. You proved yourself to him. Malcolm knew you, Lord, I know that. You proved yourself to me and many of us here. But to his family and his friends who don't know you, would you honour his faith by responding to their prayer and reveal yourself, the God of love, the God of life, and the God of light? We invite you. Change lives, change hearts. Bring us the life and abundance that Jesus promised. And if you agree, say amen. Our final hymn, again, one of Malcolm's favourites. Thine be the glory, risen, conquering Son. Oh, sorry, there's a reading first. Well done for shouting.
God, I thought it was going to be let off the hook.
No such.
Yes, Psalm of David, shepherd, boy, and king. It's a vision of a shepherd, boy, and king of his God. And a very well known 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He restores my soul. He guides me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Wonderful, thank you very much. And now we'll do the song. How about that? Okay. stand up if you can. well. He would have been proud of that last song. You sung really well. So we're really coming to a close now. Is there anything else you want to say? Okay, so we're just inviting you. Unfortunately, this actually doesn't extend to Tasmania. But maybe Deliveroo will sort you out or whatever. I don't know if they go that far. So the family will just invite you to come and join them in the back room where they've laid on some food. We're going out to one of Malcolm's favourite songs, Don Williams' You're My Best Friend. And I think he would say this, that he counts everybody in this room, including the family, as Ollie said,